Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. And if you're one of my regular viewers, or if you read the title, you already know where we're going here. We are doing Frank Zappa, Joe's Garage, Acts 2 and 3. Gets a little shocking. Alright. And both literally and figuratively. Okay. So, just to recoup. Act 1 is all about the setup for Joe and how music and women have messed up his mind. Now, one of the things I haven't mentioned at this point yet, because there's so many complex themes going on throughout here, is the job of the central scrutinizer, which I mentioned in the beginning, who is a regular character throughout here, or the central scrutinizer. His job is to make up laws to help protect the future. There's some real complex. This album was way the hell ahead of its time. Let's see, about 43 years ahead of its time, 42 years ahead of its time. A lot of stuff you're seeing happening today with cancel culture, crap like that. Yeah. A lot of those noises too, actually. So, at this point in the story, we're starting off with Joe now going and exploring other sexual outlets. And we're introduced to characters like L. Ron Hoover. Because the next 3 songs are basically all about Joe getting into being an appliance fetishist. Yes. Yes. The next 3 songs are all related to Joe and robot lovemaking. If not robot, other appliances. Yeah. Which I think is hilarious, considering how much of a thing that's become now. On both the male and the female side, especially on the female side, you see some of the shit they got for women out there, man. Some crazy shit. Alright, they got some crazy shit for dudes, too. You know, those new sex dolls, yeah, no. Alright. Now, you've got a token of my extreme, which is the setup for what's going to happen. There's a lot of the L. Ron Hoover jokes are obviously jokes that L. Ron Hubbard and his having people stay in the closet. Yes. Yes, yes, there are a lot of gay jokes in here. I don't think the gay jokes, though, are anti-gay jokes. I mean, listening to it in a modern context, I definitely don't think they're anti-gay jokes. Your uptight, not really listening listener might think that they are, but I think it's actually more an expression of, you know, feel free to be gay. Better than fucking appliances. Also, to tell you how ahead of its time it is, I don't remember which one of the tracks it is. I can't remember if it's during the track Cyborg or if it's the next track after that, Dong Work for Yuda. The term pansexual is actually mentioned. Now, if you didn't watch my review for Act 1 and you've made it this far already, go back and watch the review for Act 1. But Yeah, oh my god. At this point it's getting ridiculous, okay? So the pansexual is mentioned. The reason why I mentioned the list in the first out or go back for the review first album is, that's where I give all the details of what year this was released and stuff like that, all that detail. Basically, 1979, there is a mention of pansexual, okay, and used in proper context of what a pansexual would be. I want to say it was in the song Cyborg. And the song Cyborg is a little long. Most of the songs in Acts 2 and 3 are actually pretty long. Uh, I believe Token of, or Stick It Out. And Stick It Out is hilarious because it's both in German and in English. The whole thing is just sex. Sex with robots, all the craziness that goes with sex with robots. Cyborg ends with Joe being too hard on one of the pleasure appliances and shorting it out. Shocking, isn't it? Okay. With a golden shower. Really shocking. Frank really had to think about golden showers in 1979. It came up on the Shake Your Booty album as well. And then there's another part in here that comes up on Shaky Booty, which, if you watch my first review of Act 1, you'll have heard me talk about the song Jewish Princess. There's actually lines from Jewish Princess quoted in here and redone, but done in a robot voice where they're talking about, oh, you must be Italian. What? You're Jewish? Love your nails. You must be a Libra. Yeah, that actually pops up. That's from the song Jewish Princess. Pops up in here as well. It's hilarious. It's bad, but it's hilarious. At the end of Cyborg, Joe gets sent to prison because Cyborg is S-I, so the name, first name is Cy, the last name is Borg. B-O-R-G. Okay, so the next three songs have to deal with Joe going to prison. Dong Work for Yuda is just that, is dong work for Yuda. And then that goes into the legendary Keep It Greasy. Keep it greasy so it goes down easy. Keep it. Yeah, and that is what you think it is, man. That's all about, prison rape. And keeping it all greased up so it keeps going till they're done. Yeah. A lot of humorous commentary related to prison rape. Can't help but laugh at it, but at the same time, it's prison rape. Alright, and something that for some reason is often so horribly overlooked in the prison system. Just gnarly. Alright, and then at this point, after keeping it greasy and a lot of bottom work, we get to Joe fantasizing about being back on the outside. And how he basically fantasizes to get through the rest of his prison term. Then there's supposed to be the next two songs after that. It's He Used to Cut the Grass and the Packard Goose. Both of those are both a little bit gratuitous on the instrumental side. Definitely instrumental sampling side as well mixed in there. Really, honestly, they're good tunes. I think they're in excess in gratuitousness. He Used to Cut the Grass being 8:32, Packard Goose being 11:32. They're both good songs. They're both very enjoyable. And you don't really notice the time so much when it's going by when you're listening to the album, unless you're really just kind of hyper-focused on it. And it's kind of like, wow, man, this is really going on. And these two really don't do much to further the storyline at this point. They're more about Joe dissolving on the outside and just kind of... he can't function anymore. He's become such a mess that he's down, he's out, he's over, he's done with. Then that'll lead into arguably the best song on here, which is also basically a heavy instrumental piece if it wasn't for the scrutinizer being at the beginning there. And this is also classified as one of Zappa's choices for one of his favorite guitar solos. And it's Watermelon and Easter Hay. And this is a beautiful instrumental song. And it's at this point where I really wish that they would have broke down all the Central Scrutinizer stuff separate as individual tracks the whole way through the album. Because I would love to be able to listen to Watermelon and Easter Hay just on its own without having to hear the talking at the beginning of it. Because the talking at the beginning of it doesn't do anything for the song by itself. And this is really one hell of a guitar solo led kind of song. It is beautiful. I recommend everybody goes and checks this out. I believe I talked about it when I did my Shut Up and Play Your Guitar 1, 2, and 3 series. And because it was on there as well. And this one of Zappa's best works, I think. And when it comes to Joe's Garage Acts 1, 2, and 3 as a whole, it's my favorite track. Honestly is. And the next one after that is Crew Sluts. You know, so you got one being this beautiful instrumental piece, one being this big time heavy cowboy boot stomper, you know. Then you get to the last song that finishes off the album, A Little Green Rosetta. This is a great way to finish off the album, although I think it devolves into Camp and Cheese way too much by the end. Zappa finishes off the album like it was a great musical show that he was performing and whatnot. And Zappa did do that a lot, you know. His stuff was designed when he played live that he did it as a show, proper show where there was kind of a story almost kind of going on from beginning to end or some type of narrative. Not in all cases, but honestly in a lot. And A Little Green Rosetta is a great little closer to it, and that's what it feels like. It feels like a great little closer, like you'd hear at the end of some type of a variety TV show, stuff like that, where the band's playing in the crowd, like the end of Saturday Night Live, almost. That's how I would want. Think of this as like a Saturday Night Live that was set up where every sketch flows into the next sketch. And real honestly, Saturday Night Live could probably modern Saturday Night Live definitely could take a page out of Zappa's book here with how to set up a great storyline and go all the way through from beginning to end and have a good narrative and stuff like that. And keeping it humical while satirical and, you know, just going on. I am not defending Frank's misogyny. I am not defending anything that can be perceived as, you know, homophobic. I really, with the amount that Frank has no problem talking about homosexual behavior, some of it definitely could be interpreted as homophobic. I'm not going to interpret that way because it was how it was back in the day, you know. I find Frank must have been a golden shower fetishist because he talks about golden showers a lot. And he always talks about golden showers in relation to gay men, and I've never known a single gay man that's into a golden shower. But I've known a lot of women into it. It's kind of twisted and weird. Oh. Anyways. On that note, okay. Joe's Garage, is it for everybody? No. Is it the album that I think you should use to get into Frank Zappa? Definitely not. No. If you really are looking for me to tell you an album you should start with Frank Zappa, I would recommend Hot Rats as a starting point. This one would be after you've had a little exposure to Zappa, so you know that his lyrical content is anything goes. Too many people, I think, would automatically chalk this up to being a comedy album, and that is great. I'm all for that. It is definitely humorous. There's definitely some great biting social commentary in here, you know, and this album is just way ahead of its time. Way super ahead of its time. But I'm going to leave it there, folks. I will be back to the Frank hopefully sometime in the near future. I don't want to go as long as I did last time without covering a little Frank, so we'll see how that goes. Let me know what you think. Tell me your comments. Leave me your comments in your comment section. If there's a Frank Zappa album you actually want me to cover, drop me a line. Let me know which Zappa album you want me to cover. If I don't own it, I'll actually go out and buy it because, you know, sometimes I just don't know which Zappa album I want to pick up because you never know what era to go into with Zappa because there's so much. The dude released 63 albums, 62 or 63 albums before he passed away in the early 90s. There's been another 60 some odd released since his passing because there was that much material left over because the man just wrote and wrote and wrote. He was an artist, true artist. Leave me comments. Let me know what you think. Hit that bell for notifications after you hit the like button and after you hit the subscribe or, yeah, you want to subscribe. You definitely do. The bell gives you those notifications. Anyways, hit the link below that'll take you to Patreon. You can throw me a few bucks that way. Peace. Love. Take care.